Visit us at WLIE540AM.com.
This is the Chapters Wrap on WLIE 540 AM, serving New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. If you want to jump aboard this love train, please do it. 631-955-5400. And for all you people that are struggling on the LIE, get home safely, but tune into 540 Chapters Wrap. We're here every Friday night from 6 to 7, and you're stuck in traffic, we'll take care of you on the way home there. So we have a loaded show here today, and Robin, welcome to the WLIE studio.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes. You've been traveling around with me a little bit.
Yeah, this has been a busy week.
Yes, because the show, the Chapters Wrap, if you don't know, we do it in Queens, we do it in Jamaica and Flushing, we do it in Brookville, we do it in Babylon, and we do it in Merrick, and we do it in WLIE here in Ronkonkoma. And every Saturday night, it's on Optimum Cable, channel 115 from 8 to 9 p.m., and it'll be on tomorrow night. So we're kind of like all over the map here. But the reason why we do this is bringing people together. And this is kind of like one of my favorite shows because we have three outstanding guests. We have saxophonist Colleen Farquhar. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We just became new friends. And this is right in your backyard.
Yeah. 2 miles away.
2 miles away. So you can't be late.
No excuses.
So we could actually, the next show, we could do it from your living room, okay?
Yeah.
All right. And we have Maureen Calamia, who's an author, and she has a big signing and presentation at the book review in Huntington on Tuesday night. We'll learn all about that. And we also have youth hero Olivia Price, and she is here ready to turn it out for us. So we have a lot of beautiful women here, but Colleen, I must say, you're like the sax goddess.
Thank you so much.
That's a bad joke, isn't it?
I will accept that.
Okay.
term.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
I will own that.
Okay. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself because you're not original Long Islander. You've been traveling around a little bit, but you landed here. So
yes,
talk about
I've been
that.
all over. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and then when I was 12, my whole family moved to St. Louis. So that was a huge culture shock. So I went to high school, college, and I stayed in St. Louis area for several years after that. And then I decided to go work on a cruise ship.
Okay.
So I worked for Holland America Line, and I traveled around the world for a couple of years doing cruise ships, playing in a band. And I met a guy on the ship who was from Long Island, and so I eventually moved here.
So it's always a relationship that takes you wherever you land. It's always. How'd you get on the cruise? That's pretty cool because I always want to go on a cruise, and that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, it's very cool. It was definitely the best job I've ever had. It felt like being on vacation all the time. So basically, you go through an agency, or that's what most people do. So you do an audition, and then they assign you a contract if they like your audition. For sax players, you have to be able to double on flute and clarinet, and be able to sight read at the audition. So it's a lot of pressure. I had to brush up on my clarinet skills and my flute skills before that.
So you've performed musically since you were probably a little girl.
Yes, I've been playing the sax for 25 years, and I've been playing piano since I was 4.
Wow. And was it difficult for you to kind of just jump into the music thing? Who inspired you?
I was always kind of naturally drawn to that, and it was really my grandfather that started. He paid for piano lessons when I was 4, and that's how it all started. And it just was pretty obvious from that point that I was meant to be a musician. So
I'm so jealous because I always want to sing and I can't sing. I actually sang on the way here, sitting in traffic on the LIE, the journey, But anyway, it's me and Steve Perry, it's just him and I in the car. But I always wanted to play the saxophone. And when I was in high school, there were bands like Quarterflash, like Rindy Ross. Like she was a school teacher, and she created this band from I think the West Coast, and Heart of My Heart, and it was all about the sax, and it was the coolest thing because she would sing, and all of a sudden she'd do the saxophone thing. Yeah, and you must see that in
awesome.
When you perform. That's a really cool thing to do.
A couple of my role models are Mindy Abair, Candy Dolfer, and they do that kind of a thing too. They sing and they play the sax. So that's kind of who I want to follow in the footsteps of.
And then I'm a big Foreigner fan too. So
I love Foreigner.
Foreigner's great. So, and then it came out a song Urgent.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that song for the first time, that saxophone solo, I think it was Junior Walker, did that. It was amazing. It like, blew my mind. I had to go get the album or the CD back then. I don't remember what it was, but I got it right away. So that's really inspiring too. And every time you see Foreign in concert, that's like the highlight of the show, the saxophone solo.
Yep.
So do you do that when you perform? Does that you get that effect with the audience as well?
Yeah, definitely. It's always that extra element that stands out, and people are always saying like, "Oh, I love the sax. It's like my favorite part." So yeah, it really affects people, and it makes you feel something. They say the sax is the instrument that most closely resembles the human voice.
Okay.
So I think that's really why it like pulls at your heartstrings, because it's like so full of emotion.
Yeah, it is. Robin, do you?
Yeah, it's very soulful. I mean, I agree that definitely.
So you think you could play the saxophone, Robin?
I don't know. I don't know if that's my instrument.
We'll get the radio thing down first, and then we'll graduate to the saxophone. So when you perform, you're in a couple of bands, right?
Yes, I play in several different bands, but I've got a few that are my primary bands. My main band is called Schroeder's Ghost.
Okay.
And we're a cover band. It's mostly rock, classic rock, blues, a little bit of country. But the thing about that band is that we play songs that everybody knows, but that most other bands aren't playing.
Oh, okay.
So they might be like a little bit more difficult or have some complex harmonies, but we rehearse every week and we're very dedicated. So that's my main band.
Do you have anything coming out? Like, are you playing anywhere?
With Schroeder's Ghost, we have a gig at the Big Kahuna on Friday, May 18th. So that's our next big thing coming up. And we're going to play a track later from one of our live shows.
Okay.
From Schroeder's Ghost. I play in another cover band called Cover to Cover, which is a Nassau County-based band. And I'm actually playing with them tonight at Trotters in Franklin Square at 9 o'clock.
Wow, so this is pretty cool. You work all day, you come do radio stuff, and then you go perform at night.
Exactly.
You have a busy schedule.
Busy.
Yeah, so we have, you're going to do a couple of track songs we're going to learn about, and you're going to do something live at the end of the show. So you got to stick around for that. So talk about the two songs the tracks that we're going to hear soon.
So the first one is from a live Schroeder's Ghost show. I believe it was our first live show with this incarnation of the band. The band's gone through a lot of changes, and I joined the band about, I think, 7 or 8 months ago. So we practiced a lot for a couple of months before we gigged out, and then we had our first gig last December. And the song that I'm going to play is from that gig, and it's an Etta James tune called Damn Your Eyes.
Okay.
And then the next song I'm going to play is actually of my alter ego. Did you know I have an alter ego?
I'm going to find out. I'm a psychologist, so, step right up, Colleen.
All right. So my alter ego is Sax Kitten.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Okay. So Sax Kitten plays with DJs.
Okay.
So like house music, drum and bass, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Like parties, raves, that scene.
Okay. All right.
So it's a whole look. I have ears and a tail and like, black leather sort of thing going on.
Okay, all right.
So that's Sax Kitten. So I recently had my first official release with Sax Kitten. I worked with a DJ called DeMarcus Lewis, who's a pretty well-known house DJ. He was named the hardest working man in house a couple of years ago.
Really?
Yeah, he puts out tracks all the time. He's very talented. I met him in person at a music festival in the St. Louis area last summer. And, we played together and he's like, I'd love to work with you. So eventually he sent me something and we put out our first track in February. It's called Talking About the Blues.
All right.
So that's going to be the next one that we're going to play.
Cool.
So is it important? How important is it to connect with the people in the audience and the people that come to your shows?
I'm glad you mentioned that because that is very, very important to me and to most of the bands that I'm in. I feel like that's one thing that kind of these days, so many people are so dependent on technology and you see a lot of musicians reading off their iPads or off music and that they lose that connection with the audience.
Right.
Whenever I can avoid it, I don't like to read any music on stage. I'll memorize whatever I need to because I really like to get that connection because I know if I'm going to a concert and I'm watching a show, I want to get that connection because that's really, what you're there for. You want to feel something and feel that connection.
Right.
So.
Do you segue some of your songs by, talking about, life or different things? Or you just go right into your music?
It depends on the situation. Everything's different. A lot of times you just kind of wing it and just whatever intuitively happens.
Right. So you thrive off the audience and they too. That's a good point too, because I think when I go to shows, I go to a lot of shows, I'm not a musician, but that connection to the performer is so important. And I think, they thrive off that. So let's hear your first song. What's the first song going to be?
It's called Damn Your Eyes. It's an Etta James classic.
Okay, Etta James. Colleen Farquhar.
I can do what I want, I'm in complete control. That's what I tell myself. I got a mind of my own, I'll be alright alone. Don't need anybody else. I gave myself a good talking to. No more being a fool for you. But I see, and all I remember is how you make me wanna surrender. Damn your eyes for taking my breath away, for making me wanna stay. Damn your eyes for getting my hopes up high, making me fall in love again. Damn your eyes. It's always the same. You'll say that you'll change, somehow you never do. But I believe all your lies, that look in your eyes, you make it all seem true. I guess I see what I wanna see, or is it my heart just deceiving me? 'Cause with that look I know so well I'm possibly under your spell. Damn your eyes for taking my breath away, for making me wanna stay. Damn your eyes for getting my hopes up high, making me fall in love again. Damn your eyes. You keep deliberately deceiving me, making me see what I want not see. Damn your eyes for taking my breath away, oh, for making me wanna stay. Damn your eyes for getting my hopes up high, making me fall in love again. Damn your eyes. Damn your eyes for taking my breath away. Damn your eyes for getting my hopes up high, for making me fall in love again. Damn your eyes. Tommy Higgins. Wait to hear this. Yeah, baby. Damn! Damn your eyes. That solo rips my heart out.
Hi, we are Rosario's Giving Tree, and we bring toys to children in hospitals. I hope to encourage other kids my age to give back to those less fortunate.
Rosario's Giving Tree has now decided to partner up with Hempstead Boys and Girls Club, and on June 25th, they are hosting a night of comedy and music at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach, Queens.
The event includes a 4-course dinner with beer and wine.
Special performances by American Idol singer Robbie Rosen and comedians Tugboat Manny and Carrie Caravis.
Not to mention there will be raffles galore and lots of prizes that you're going to want to get your hands on.
Rosario's Giving Tree has promised to donate 20% of the night's proceeds to Hempstead Boys and Girls Club, and the rest will be used to purchase and deliver toys to St. Jude Children's Hospital.
So please open your hearts and come enjoy a great night of comedy and music supporting these great causes.
The children at St. Jude Hospital and Hempstead Boys and Girls Club need us. Tickets are $75. To purchase tickets,
Go to eventbrite.com and search for Rosario's Giving Tree.
Celebrate a hero born today. Celebrating for saving lives. Saving life brings a new day. Yeah, the one who saved you, the one who saved me, the very one that saved the world today. It could be that stranger, the one you saw last week. Now today he saved your life. That stranger who took you up harm's way. That stranger.
We're back here in the Chapters Wrap, WLIE540AM. If you want to join in, please do at 631-955-5400. We serve New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. This is the Chapters Wrap. I'm Steve Vaccaro. We have Robin Landauer, and that is Kasha. That ballad song is called Hero, and she's been putting out great music for years. She's been a friend of the show for so long, so you have to check her out on YouTube. Kasha, she has a fast version of that song, Hero, and she was kind enough to do a ballad song, and we always play it because when we have a youth hero in the studio, and we have a youth hero in the studio, she's 15-year-old Olivia Price from Babylon. Olivia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, talk about what it's like to be on the radio today.
Wow, it's really exciting. I've never done this before. This whole headset thing is really exciting.
Now, did I mess up your age?
Yeah, I'm 14 years
14. Okay, 15 is so old, so I apologize. 14 years old, but tell everybody what you do and why you do the things that you do.
Well, I am a Royal International Miss Empire State Junior Teen, and part of this scholarship pageant is a lot of community service. So that is a requirement for this pageant, but it's also so much fun to give back, not only for you, but for the people you're giving back to. I've been volunteering since I was about 8 years old when I started pageants, and from then, it was just a constant volunteer loop, and I've just never stopped. It's so much fun.
So how'd you get into the pageantry world? Was that hard for you, or how'd you learn about it at first?
I got a letter home for a pageant,
Okay.
and I started it, and it was so much fun. I wanted to keep going. It gave me so much confidence. I made so many friends, so many different connections. It led me to so many amazing places. I got my first commercial, first acting job. My interview skills, all this comes from pageantry, and it's a lot of fun.
Wait a minute. When I was 14, I did nothing like you do. You interview commercials, TV. I mean, what's going on here? That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So talk about the stuff you've done, TV and the commercials. Is it exciting?
Very exciting. So I really when I grow up, I'm really into that whole acting scene. I love to perform no matter what. That's my number one passion, but I'm also really interested in the United Nations.
Okay.
Like lots of politicians and government type stuff. I think it's really entertaining, and the United Nations also brings peace and love into the world, and that's also something I want to do, and that ties in with the volunteer service. So.
Right, that's pretty cool, because the chapters wrap out tagline is where unity and diversity meet one chapter at a time, and the United Nations brings people together so that diversity. Why does that interest you?
It's combining government, which can be a really scary and touchy topic, and combining it with so much peace and love and helping other people, which always attracted me, the volunteer service.
Right. Before we get into the volunteerism, talk about, there's so many things that happen in schools today with gun control and things like that. Now, you're a young person. How do you see the world when these things happen around the country?
It really breaks my heart. It really does. It's funny because I'm starting to get to that age where I'm supposed to talk about these things and be really interested in these things, but when I get to the United Nations, these are things I want to help solve, and all this anger and hate in the world, I just want to turn it around and make it love.
Robin, that's unbelievable, right?
That's right up my alley.
Thank you.
That's right, because this whole show is based on positivity. There's not 1 ounce of negativity that goes on here, and that you're an example of that. Then you brought up volunteerism. Talk about how important that is, because we're going to talk about that specifically. But for you, why is volunteerism important?
Well, first of all, it helps the volunteer as a person grow as a person and see the world, other different perspectives of the world, what other people go through just to live their lives, and to help them out a little bit not only brings joy into their lives, but also you gain so much more knowledge from that. And for other people, I can't imagine how much it does for people. My mom is in a wheelchair and she's an amazing person, and when I was 9 years old, I actually broke both my wrists at the same time, so that kind of gave me a slight insight on what it might be to have a certain incapability that a lot of people go through, and that just always encouraged me to it's my duty to help other people.
Wow.
So which kind of volunteerism are you involved in?
Well, I'm an advocacy ambassador for New York Angels pageant, which is a pageant for children with disabilities, children and adults, and I'm a teen ambassador for New York Sports Scene, which is another children's foundation that helps children either with disabilities, economic issues, lots of volunteering.
So is this does the pageantry tell you where you should volunteer, or is this all on your own?
A lot of it is from pageantry. A lot of my friends that I've made connections with, it's a constant like, come on, Olivia, let's go volunteer together. It's like a fun hobby. It's not even like a job. It's not the volunteer hours that I'm getting for school. It not only is a fun thing to do with your pageant friends and get hours for community service, but it's also helping other people at the same time, which is amazing.
Now, this is the Chapters Wrap on WLIE540AM. I'm talking to youth hero Olivia Price, who's 14 years old, and talk about how you just had an event last week. That's how we met each other. How important was that event, and does that help you, reach out to even more people?
Definitely. Well, it brought me here.
That's right.
And volunteering at the Gift of Life USA 2 weeks ago was so much fun. I don't like to call things disabilities, because it's really not. It's just different abilities, which is something that I kept saying at the interviews 2 weeks ago at the Gift of Life USA, which is an organization that gives scholarships to people with different abilities.
Right. And what's your goals for 2018? I know we're already in almost May already, but what have you been doing this year, and what do you plan on continue to do?
What are my goals? Well, first off, I'm going into high school in the fall, which is going to be a big change, a lot more different opportunities, a lot more openings for me to do what I love to do. And in the summer, I'm competing at Royal International Miss Internationals in Orlando, Florida. So girls from all over the country are coming. South Africa, Europe, Britain, all over the place. So I'm really excited about that.
So when you do these pageantry, is it competitive? Are you competitive? Because you play sports. What sports do you play?
Oh, I'm the captain of my lacrosse team.
Captain.
Yeah, and I love soccer. I've been playing soccer since I was 4, and we were undefeated in the fall. So we'd like to keep that up.
So how do you do all this? Your radio shows, your pageantry, sports. I'm assuming you're getting good grades. So.
Yeah. Yep. I sure have.
All right. So how do you do all this?
I'm a very busy person. I don't like sitting down and doing anything. When I get up in the morning, okay, what's next? What's going on today? That's just what keeps me going. And that's what gives all these opportunities to me, because I can make so many connections to so many different things by doing all these different things.
That's wonderful. Now, earlier you mentioned your mother's amazing. Explain why is she amazing?
Well, both of my moms, because I have two moms.
Okay.
My mom, who's sitting right here in the studio, she's in a wheelchair and she is paralyzed. And she's always there for me and always doing my best to show me the other side of how people live, what she goes through every day, and me helping her every day. That really, it makes you a better person. That sounds kind of weird that she makes you a better person just because she has a different ability, but it really does make a difference in someone's life once you see the other side of life.
Right. So you had two moms. So how's the other mom? Supportive?
Definitely supportive. It's so much fun. My parents are yin and yang. They're so much fun. This mom, she's the pageant mom, having so much fun. My other mom is the sports mom, loves soccer, loves lacrosse.
Okay. All right. So it's a good combo.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
The yin and yang. I like that.
That is wild. And if there are young people out there, what message would you send them right now? Because you have the platform. It's all yours. Now that you're on the radio show, it's all yours. What message would you give to them? Because sometimes young people struggle with life now and distracted by different things. So how would you reach out to them?
How would I reach out to them? It sounds cheesy, but never giving up in yourself, never giving up. That's really the one thing to say it. When someone tells you that you can't do something, you just have to show them wrong and use your voice. Your voice is never underestimated. When someone tells you to be quiet, you stand up and you say what's on your mind. That's probably the best message.
Wow, you are an amazing young lady. I want to thank you so very much for joining us here on the Chapters Wrap. And I know that we're going to be doing some different things together. So this is kind of like a little icebreaker. So would you come back again?
Of course.
Because Colleen's right around the corner. You're pretty much right around the corner too. It's I'm the guy from Queens, so I got to get here. So if I can get here, you guys can get here, right?
Definitely.
So you're a beautiful young lady. Your family's beautiful, and it was amazing. It was a blessing to get to meet them the other night at that event. And so thank you very much for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah. Before we go to commercial, we're going to hear another song from Colleen Farquhar.
Sometimes that kind of blues will make you even do anything. That kind of blues. It goes here on this side. I'm talking about the blues. Make you do things you don't want to do. Low. Sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the blues. Make you do things you don't want to do. Low. Sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the blues. Make you do things you don't want to do. Low. Sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the blues. Make you do things you don't want to do. Low. Sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the blues. Well, the youngsters today right now, they take anything and make the blues out of it. Just any little jump something and say this is the such and such a blues. No, it's not. Ain't but one kind of blues. And that consists between male and female that's in love. In love. Make you do things you don't want to do. Love sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the love make you do things you don't want to do. Love sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the love make you do things you don't want to do. Love sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the love make you do things.
Hi, we are Rosario's Giving Tree, and we bring toys to children in hospitals. I hope to encourage other kids my age to give back to those less fortunate.
Rosario's Giving Tree has now decided to partner up with Hempstead Boys and Girls Club, and on June 25th, they are hosting a night of comedy and music at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach, Queens.
The event includes a 4-course dinner with beer and wine.
Special performances by American Idol singer Robbie Rosen and comedians Tugboat Manny and Carrie Karavis.
Not to mention there will be raffles galore and lots of prizes that you're going to want to get your hands on.
Rosario's Giving Tree has promised to donate 20% of the night's proceeds to Hempstead Boys and Girls Club, and the rest will be used to purchase and deliver toys to St. Jude Children's Hospital.
So please open your hearts and come enjoy a great night of comedy and music supporting these great causes.
The children at St. Jude Hospital and Hempstead Boys and Girls Club need us. Tickets are $75. To purchase tickets,
Go to eventbrite.com and search for Rosario's Giving Tree.
Love make you do things you don't want to do. Love sometimes will leave you feeling sad. I'm talking about the
You got a song going?
make you do things you don't want to do. Love sometimes will leave you feeling sad.
We're back here in the Chapter Trap, WLIE540 AM, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. If you want to join in this love train, please do it. 631-955-5400. And Colleen, amazing song. Talk about that.
Thank you. That was the first official release that I was mentioning earlier from Sax Kitten and DJ DeMarcus Lewis. It's called Talkin' About the Blues, and it's available for download on TrackSource.
Okay, so thank you very much for telling us about that. And you got to stick around because Colleen is going to do some live performance here in studio. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We have Maureen Calamari here, author.
Calamia.
Why did I say calamari? Because I haven't eaten dinner yet. That's why. I am so sorry, and I'm Italian.
No problem.
Calamia.
Everybody says that.
I know. I had it all right. Okay, so let's start over again. Maureen Calamia, thank you so very much for joining us. And you and Robin go back a little bit. Explain your relationship with our co-host.
Yeah, so we actually met at a workshop in New York City, and it was on feng shui, of course,
Yes.
Which is what we're going to talk about today. And immediately it was just, we were just drawn to each other. There was just a connection there, and we just struck up a conversation.
That's
and
right.
it's just been deepening ever since.
Yeah, besides the Long Island connection, because we're both from Long Island. But I also, I went to interior design school at the Metropolitan Institute of Interior Design, and Maureen was teaching there after I went, but that was another connection for us. But your book, Creating Luminous Spaces, uses the 5 elements for balance and harmony in your home and in your life. I have to tell you, I am enjoying it so thoroughly. You talk about what makes your book so different than so many of the others that I've read at this point is what you talk about, a biophilia or biophilic design. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So biophilia, or this kind of notion, has been around since probably the 1950s. And it's really about our inherent need to connect to the natural world. But probably not even 20 years ago, that notion was expanded to include looking at our environments and how our environments are either lacking nature or infused with nature. So they developed, a lot of academia got together and developed a list of principles to help architectural and design community create spaces that incorporate more of nature. And I think we can see that more evident now, thankfully, in healthcare facilities.
Right. Yeah, I can see, the importance of being connected to nature. Everyone talks about how, grounding, just putting your bare feet in the grass, how important that is.
Yeah. So my book talks about the connection to nature in our outdoor spaces, but then also bringing it inside. But not only that, but bringing it to the inner side, that real deep inner soul. aspects of that connection. And there's like this beautiful bridge that our home can serve between the outer nature and our inner nature.
And what about the concept of hoagie? Am I pronouncing?
Hygge.
Hygge. I it's spelled so differently.
See, you say hoagie, you think of a sandwich too. I say calamari. What's going on here?
I haven't eaten dinner either.
All right, here we go.
But it's because I first heard that I was actually at a workshop at Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, and it's like a communal table, and someone needed salt, and instead of just passing the salt, the woman put it on a napkin and made this whole presentation and started talking about what this hygge meant, and it just inspired me. And then when I read it in your book, I think you also wrote a blog about this.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's like another, I'm hearing this again. But isn't that also the whole concept of creating warmth and space around you, not just making you feel warm and fuzzy, whatever you do,
Yeah. And actually one of the, probably the biggest ways that you can connect or, bring hygge into your space is lighting. So just think about it, when we add candles to our spaces, oh my gosh, the whole feeling of a room changes.
And who doesn't look good in candlelight, right?
Right.
And, and it's actually a Danish concept.
Yes.
And, it makes a lot of sense that, the Netherlands and this, the idea that their winters are so long and so dark. Mm. So they have developed this really wonderful, aesthetic, or more than aesthetic. It's a way to really, like you said, feel warm and feel the light,
right,
by creating spaces that are just so much more connected to the nature.
Exactly. And you also you talk about finding what your element, what your true nature is, right? And I was so surprised because I'm born in September. I'm a Virgo, which is an earth sign. So I'm very nurturing. I'm being a massage therapist and interior designer. I'm all about nurturing others, and so I just assumed I was an earth element. But after taking your test, I realized I'm more of a fire. I am so fire.
Ah, yeah.
And
that's why we butt heads every now and then.
Well, it totally makes a lot of sense because you guys are on the radio here and you're also on TV, and the fire element is about being in front of an audience. It's not so much like, oh, look at me, but it's because you have something that just needs to be communicated. It's like a passion, burning desire to connect with others on a big level. And I
think everybody in this room has fire.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hot in here. I'm burning.
Definitely. And Olivia, when she was talking, I went, wow, she is so fire. So, and of course, Colleen too. So yeah, we definitely have a lot of fire in
but
there.
then I also, definitely have other elements that, also, but what, so if I'm a fire, it's, from this, and then, but I'm also that earth sign in my zodiac. So what's important for someone like me to keep that fire going, but yet not, but you talk about that it's important that it's balanced, because too much fire is not good and too little fire is not good, or any element for that matter.
Exactly. So I just want to say what the 5 elements are. Just for the audience.
That's probably a good idea.
We have, this comes from Eastern philosophy. So there's wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So it's a little different from the Western elements. So the fire element, really thrives on spaces that are exciting and vibrant. So a lot of color. Fire is a yang or yang element. So, being able to move around and have flexibility and being open is really important for fire. But you also said that, you can burn out. Exactly. So fire also needs to have space that's restorative, and they have to know when to turn off their energy and just kind of go within, which is more of the water element when you think about it.
Exactly. Right. So let's talk about that. How the elements, some feed the other elements, and then all others
Yeah, so there's the 5-element theory in Eastern philosophy. And just in case any listeners have had acupuncture, this is all based on the same system. So we have the wood element adds to fire and creates fire. The fire element, when it burns into ash, that is the soil and the earth element. Then the earth element over millions of years gets compacted and compressed, and minerals in there turn into the metals, which is the metal element. Metal condensates and creates water. So there you've got the water element. And of course, lastly, the water element nourishes and feeds plants. So that's the wood element. So there's just this wonderful harmony of connection between these 5 elements.
Right. So like you said before, it's not just about us inside, but to have our spaces support us is really so key, because what I tell people, they come for massage for whatever reason, but then they go home, and if their environments don't support them, then they're just being pulled back into the same place that they were, and that's why it doesn't stick.
Right. I mean, the same thing with psychology too.
Right.
I mean, I've heard therapists talk about, working on particular issues with patients, but, they go back to that same environment, which we may be filled with the dreaded word clutter, which will block and stagnate our lives and create blocks from moving forward and learning and growing. We need space. We need openness and expansiveness in order to learn about ourselves and to improve. And
I don't know about, because my interior design clients, I'm just finding that people are purging left and right. Are you finding a lot of your clients or,
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting. A lot of my clients don't have like major clutter issues. So,
it's not just even the clutter, just getting rid of more than, just to not hold on to things so much.
Well, it might be that book. That,
why do you keep looking at me, Rob, when you say clutter? It's the 4th time you looked at me.
There's
just trying to keep you involved.
I got you. I'm right here. I'm with you. I got you.
It's I think there is this trend of that the Japanese art of tidying,
Yes,
and
that's
it's become such a sensation, and perhaps there's some people out there that are taking it a little too far, because I think when our spaces are devoid of anything, that's also a problem.
Yeah, no, that's a little on the extreme.
On the extreme
is
no
not
extreme
good.
isn't good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Chapters Wrap on WLIE540 AM. We're serving New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. If you want to jump aboard this love train, please do it. 631-955-5400. We're talking to author Maureen Calamia, and the book is Creating Luminous Spaces. Use the 5 elements for balance and harmony in your home and in your life. And we heard about Colleen's gig, but you have a gig coming up too next week.
I actually have 2 gigs.
2 gigs,
up. Yeah.
okay.
So the first one is the book review in Huntington, and that is on Tuesday night, May 1st at 7:00. And the next one is in New York City at the New York Open Center. I'll be there Friday night and all day Saturday for a workshop.
Wow. And at the book review, talk about if people come, what are they going to be in store for?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about my inspiration to write this book. And we'll talk a little bit about the 5 elements, kind of get people excited about learning about what their element is. And of course, there'll be a book signing as well.
That's wonderful. And the book review is located in Huntington. And it's a free event, right?
Yes,
you can
it
get there.
is.
Okay,
Yes.
you get there, and they can purchase your book, get to meet you,
Yes.
get to know all about the book. How long did it take you to write this book?
All right. So there's 2 answers to that question.
All
One
right.
is 9 years.
Okay.
And that was more of just trying to come up with the right outline and the way really I wanted to communicate this material. And the material morphed over that 9-year period. But once I got a publisher that agreed to, take me as a risk, I wrote the book in about 5 months.
Wow. 5
So it
months.
just like poured out of me.
So when it was finished, it must have been just like a great feeling.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to, this whole trip has been so surreal. It's really hard to put words around it.
Wow.
Just incredible.
Wow.
Yes.
And when you connect with people through your book, what's the responses people are going to you with at this point?
Well, so far I'm hearing all the good stuff.
Okay.
Which is
definitely
good.
from me.
I've been hearing from a lot of people that this is awesome. I'm highlighting things. I'm making changes right now. I never looked at my home the same way that you talk about. And basically, when you learn about feng shui, you never can see things the same again.
Right. So, Robin, you must really connect what Maureen's talking about.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yes, and for people that this is new for them, how do you kind of ease them into it? Like what do they know? What should they look for in your book?
Well, I think everyone can identify with the fact that our homes should be a place for restoration and peace. And so I think they can come at it from a very top level of looking at their home and how they connect to their home, how they feel about their home, and see a way that they can maybe make their home a little bit more peaceful for them.
Wow. It's always amazing that, when you could turn, things that are around you into a writing like your book and connect with so many people out there. It must be really a joyous thing for you to see that happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it really is. I can't wait to get out there. I mean, the book is officially out on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So the book review will be my first time I can really connect, of course, besides this radio show.
Well, I have a feeling this is not going to be your first, but your last book that you write. I have a feeling there's another one going to be brewing very soon after this one.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and you know what? We had the opportunity and the blessing to interview a lot of authors over the years, and some authors take a more proactive approach than not to sell their book or to get their message out there. You have to really get yourself out there, right, for your book. Just people don't come to you. You have to kind of be in those right spots, because you heard Olivia talking about that networking. It's important for you to be out there.
Yes, definitely. Oh, I have like a whole book tour that is being set up actually over the next few months. I'm just going all over, well, pretty much the Northeast right now, but I'll be doing the Southeast a little bit later in the year.
Okay.
And then maybe going to Ireland.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
we'll
Wow. All right, we only have a minute left, but I have this friend of mine. He has problems with clutter. And what would you recommend for my friend? What would you recommend for him?
Oh, geez. Okay, in a minute. Oh, gosh. I would recommend that he maybe sits in one of the rooms and take a deep breath.
Okay. I'm writing this down so I can tell him.
Really see what he feels.
Okay.
About how he feels in that room. A lot of people are in denial and they'll say, I feel fine. I feel fine. But if he can really connect with his inner self, he's going to realize that he doesn't feel good in that space, hopefully. Right. And then maybe that will be his motivation to start doing something.
I will definitely get the message to him. Maureen, how can people get a hold of you?
Oh, yes. So my website is luminous-spaces.com, just like the name of the book, luminous-spaces.com. And I have a great quiz that you can download on what is your true nature. And you can actually find that out without even getting the book yet. But I'm sure you're going to want to read about your element once you find it out.
Wow. Well, stay with us. Thank you so very much. We have a live performance from Colleen Farquhar right live in studio in WLIE. Come on back.
Hi, we are Rosario's Giving Tree, and we bring toys to children in hospitals. I hope to encourage other kids my age to give back to those less fortunate.
Rosario's Giving Tree has now decided to partner up with Hempstead Boys and Girls Club, and on June 25th, they are hosting a night of comedy and music at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach, Queens.
The event includes a 4-course dinner with beer and wine,
special performances by American Idol singer Robbie Rosen and comedians Tugboat Manning and Carrie Carabas.
Not to mention there will be raffles galore and lots of prizes that you're going to want to get your hands on.
Rosario's Giving Tree has promised to donate 20% of the night's proceeds to Hempstead Boys and Girls Club, and the rest will be used to purchase and deliver toys to St. Jude Children's Hospital.
So please open your hearts and come enjoy a great night of comedy and music supporting these great causes.
The children at St. Jude Hospital and Hempstead Boys and Girls Club need us. Tickets are $75. To purchase tickets,
go to eventbrite.com and search for Rosario's Giving Tree.
We're back here at the Chapters Wrap, and Colleen, you are taking us home. What song you do live in studio here?
I'm going to do some jazz for you, one of my favorite jazz tunes. It's a standard called Misty. Okay. And I just want to say that people can check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/Colleen Farquhar Sax. if you're interested in Sax Kitten, it's facebook.com/saxkitten.
We're all interested now, and you have a whole bunch of new listeners. Hopefully they'll check out your gig tonight. You're going to be where tonight?
Trotters in Franklin Square, 9 o'clock.
Okay, and then your next gig is where?
May 19th, the Big Kahuna with Schroeder's Ghost.
All right. How many o'clock? Take it away. Take us home.
The views, opinions, and statements expressed in the preceding program reflect the views of program contributors and do not necessarily reflect the views of WLIE Radio, its management, or its sponsors. For questions and comments, please send us an email at WLIE540AM radio@AOL.com or visit us at WLIE540AM.com.
This is Higher Ground with Pastor Gary Grant
and First Lady Grant,
inviting you to tune in with us on WLIE 540 AM and online at WLIE540AM.com every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. as we expound the gospel of grace. We're also here to pray for you. Remember, God is still blessing in this season.
Hi, this is Bill Shishko, host of Healthwise, 30 Minutes to Think About God and Your Health, brought to you by your friends at Cottage Pharmacy, 8285 Jericho Turnpike in Woodbury, New York. Join us at 1 p.m. this Saturday here on WLIE Radio as we learn about nutrition, vitamins, supplements, healthy eating, diet, and so many other things. And you can call in to talk with experienced nutritionists who can answer your questions. Listen in this Saturday at 1 p.m. for HealthWise.
Cap off a weekend of watching sports by talking about it with Mark Rosenman and AJ Carter on Sports Talk New York. All the intelligent conversation, insightful interviews, and just plain fun are now right here on WLIE 540 AM from 7 to 8:30 Sunday nights. Visit their website, www.sportstalknylive.com for previews of upcoming guests. Visit their Facebook page to win prizes. That's Sports Talk New York, Sunday nights from 7 to 8:30 on WLIE 540 AM.
Please join us every Saturday here on 540 WLIE, 1:30 to 3 p.m. for Redeeming Grace Radio, a ministry of Redeeming Grace Fellowship in Massapequa, New York. For more details, visit redeeminggraceny.com. That's redeeminggraceny.com. Until then, may our merciful sovereign Lord grant to you the infinite treasure of redeeming grace.
The Herman Singh Community Radio Show is now on 540 AM WLIE every Saturday morning at 9. With over 2 decades of service to the community, the Herman Singh Radio Show is now live on the air every Saturday morning at 9. If you would like to get in touch with the Herman Singh Community Radio Show to include your community announcement or request, call 718-805-4900. That's 718-805-4900. Brought to you by Tropical Funding. For all your mortgage needs, 718-805-4900.
Blessings. This is Dorina Barksdale with Maxima Castro. We invite you to be with us every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. on Destiny Calls. Every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. on 540 WLIE. Destiny Calls.
Spirit God, send your spirit.
Want to get your business, product, or service on the radio? Use our 10,000-watt signal to get your message to the entire tri-state area. Find out how to connect instantly at WLIE540AM.com.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bill Shishko, inviting you to tune in to A Visit to the Pastor's Study every Saturday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. here on WLIE Radio. We bring biblically faithful pastoral ministry to you, and we invite you to visit the Pastor's Study by calling in with your questions. Our time will be lively, useful, sometimes controversial, but never dull. Join us this Saturday at 12 noon for A Visit to the Pastor's Study, because everyone needs a pastor.
You're listening to Estás escuchando WLIE 540 AM 540 AM, home to the most variety in programming in the tri-state area.
El hogar de la mayor variedad de programación en la área triestatal.
Programs by our community,
nacidos en la comunidad,
for our community,
para el beneficio de la comunidad.
You're listening to WLIE 540 AM, Islip, New York, a part of Universal Stations, LLC.
Esta es la nueva Radio Shaddai, WLIE540 AM.
El siguiente es un espacio pagado. WLIE 540 AM y sus directores no se hacen responsables por los conceptos emitidos en el mismo. Para preguntas o comentarios, visita nuestra página web WLIE540am.com.
Aquí comienza Palabra Eficaz, promesas de ayer que pueden cambiar tu vida hoy. Estas promesas que te ayudarán a vivir una vida mejor fueron tomadas de la Biblia. Palabra Eficaz es un programa producido por American Bible Society.
Hola, te habla Emilio Reyes. Quiero compartir contigo lo que la Biblia dice acerca de que Cristo es nuestra verdadera justicia. Presta atención a las siguientes palabras. La justicia de Dios opera por medio de la fe en Jesucristo para todos los que creen en Él. Y el efecto de la justicia será paz, y la labor de la justicia reposo y seguridad para siempre. Nos salvó no por obras de justicia que nosotros hubiéramos hecho, sino por su misericordia, por el lavamiento de la regeneración y por la renovación en el Espíritu Santo. Mas por él están ustedes en Cristo Jesús, el cual nos ha sido hecho por Dios sabiduría, justificación, santificación y redención. siendo justificados gratuitamente por su gracia mediante la redención que es en Cristo Jesús. El Señor Jesucristo, que nunca conoció el pecado, por nosotros se hizo pecador para que nosotros fuésemos hechos justicia de Dios en él.
Como una manera de brindar consuelo y esperanza, American Bible Society te ofrece gratis una variada serie de porciones bíblicas. Para solicitarlas, llámanos al 1-800-242-5429. Palabra Eficaz es un programa producido por American Bible Society. Te esperamos en nuestro próximo programa cuando digamos Palabra Eficaz. Palabra Eficaz. Palabra Eficaz. Para información adicional, búsquenos en el internet www.biblias.org.
Vamos a cantar la palabra esta noche. Vamos a cantar la palabra esta noche. A ver, con sus palmas. Vamos. Yeah.
Cántalo conmigo. Cantad a Dios, cántico nuevo. Cantad a Dios, toda la tierra. Cantad a Dios, bendecid su nombre. Anunciad de día en día su salvación. Cantad a Dios, cántico nuevo. Cantad a Dios, toda la tierra. Cantad a Dios, bendecid su nombre. Anunciad de día en día su salvación. Porque grande es Jehová. Porque grande es Jehová. Alabanza, yeah. Suprema alabanza. Ahora sí conmigo, dad a Jehová la gloria y poder, y dad a Jehová la honra, su nombre, adorad a Jehová en su santidad, temed de toda la tierra. Dad a Jehová la gloria y poder, y dad a Jehová la honra, su nombre, adorad a Jehová en su santidad. Decide entre las naciones, Jehová reina. Hey. Cantad a Dios, cántico nuevo. Cantad a Dios, toda la tierra. Cantad a Dios, bendecid su nombre. Anunciad de día en día su salvación. Porque grande es Jehová, porque grande es Jehová. Porque grande es Jehová. Alabanza, yeah. Sí. Háblate conmigo. Dad a Jehová la gloria. Dad a Jehová la gloria y poder. Y dad a Jehová la honra, su nombre. Adorad a Jehová en su santidad. Temed de toda la tierra. Hey. Dad a Jehová la gloria y poder, y dad a Jehová la honra, su nombre, adorad a Jehová en su santidad. Decide entre las naciones, ahora bien conmigo. Y dad a Jehová la gloria y poder, y dad a Jehová la honra, su nombre, adorad a Jehová en su santidad, temed de todo.